Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Four Letter Nerd. I'm your host for tonight. The Four Letter Nerd is a Hyrule Geeks Unlimited production. Please donate all proceeds to me.
It's Hirogi.
Anyway, so we're back from our vacation, and this is how we start. We got a great show for you folks. We're all rested. Of course, I have to bring in the glue that holds us all together. You know her as the one, the only, Katarina Demascara. Hey, Kat, what's up? Oh, so much energy. I love it. How you
I
been?
know. I'm so not well rested,
What have
but
you?
I'm going to plug along.
I know. Mhm.
This is our busy season. That's why our big daddy ain't here with us right now. So we've all been kind of
Mhm.
pardon my French, balls to the wall for a few months already. So we're hitting the home stretch.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna hold this until I bring in the other guy. So it's good to see you. Big shout out to Bergie. We know you are out here doing the damn thing. We
Mhm.
miss you. We love you. All the great praise. Of course, he introduced himself by interrupting my whole intro. You know, we can't go anywhere without him. He's the one kid that you can't leave behind for whatever reason. In fact, he's the reason why the cruel "No Kid Left Behind" was created because nobody wants him. My brother from another mother,
Nice.
Reginald.
Okay, that's how this is how we're gonna come back from hiatus. Okay, okay.
This is
No,
how we
no, no. I
start.
got you.
I think it's
Got
like
you.
hiatus.
It's a love. It's a love thing.
It's
Once it's
I
almost
love.
like you're saying hi haters, and that's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. Hi, haters.
hey, just call it like I see it. With my glasses on.
Look, I don't.
Here we go.
I'm. I'm not the one that has their own button, sir.
That was due to a hater in the group. That was
That's
to
not what I
you.
remember it as. That's
Oh
just.
man,
That's just me.
it's a pleasure to see your faces, Reginald. What have you been up to while we were gone? What 2, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, 3 weeks. A whole lot of nothing. Taking care of my wife, who's gotten COVID for the fifth time.
Yes. How did she get COVID? Did you guys figure that out?
It's me because I'm the only one that left the house. But I'm
Oh,
like, I didn't have COVID, and I'm not a carrier because I've had COVID. So
apparently you must have been, or something that you touched, or whatever. I don't know. That
I
was
didn't touch nothing. That would be her.
But could it just be like you keep hearing about in disclaimer, I claim no medical knowledge of anything, but I have been hearing a lot, and this might just be one of those hot words right now, like long COVID, where
Mhm.
it's the same COVID and it's just not completely going away, and then the slightest breeze brings it back on again.
Oh, it's
That's
possible.
that is possible. She and I have talked about that for previous times of COVID. I forgot about it this time. You hear that, baby? You got long COVID. Leave me alone.
Long COVID.
I actually like someone.
No problem. Welcome, welcome. Nerds, what's up? Okay.
I had someone talking about that recently, where they're having some medical issues, and then like the doctors think it's long COVID, and that's what like made me think
I wouldn't
there.
doubt it.
As
I,
someone who did have, I got COVID. I think it was like in January of 2021, but mine was very, very mild. I was very, very lucky, and
mhm.
haven't had it since. I can't even imagine the struggle that people are going through,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those immunocompromised people, so like I've always been very mindful of
Yeah.
making sure that I take my vitamins and things. Not that that's the cure all, but you know what I mean? Like you do what
Yeah.
you can to mitigate your exposure to these things, but if it's something that just won't leave your body, how do you fight?
Listen, to everybody, whether or not you believe in the vaccine or anything of that nature, just protect yourself. There are natural remedies that are out there. I for once, I take my oregano, or elderberry as well. You know, my
Yes,
multivitamins as well, because I work in the
elderberry gummies.
right. I work with the
Work with the
public.
public.
I work with the
Hmm.
public. Hey, Nicole, pleasure to have you. I almost called you Sierra. That was interesting. Pleasure to have you nonetheless, Nikki. Um, you know, when you work with the public, especially the public, just it blows your mind, like how they just cough into the wind and want to talk to you
Hmm.
sometimes. So you just
Excuse me.
take
It's
no,
like,
they don't do that. They just, and it's just like, sir, I'm right here. Like, so do as much as you can that you feel comfortable, to protect yourself. Wash your hands, especially when you're coming from outside. Every chance that you get, and just to be a little bit mindful. Sometimes no matter what you do, you still catch it. Other times there are people I've known who've never caught COVID up until recently, and I'm just like, wow, I caught it twice. You know what I'm saying? You're just now catching it. So to everybody, peace be with you. I hope everything works out for you. I hope Mia feels better and everybody else who's dealing with COVID. And also protect the babies because these are working germs. These are walking germs all over the place.
Yeah. And
They will
also
bring it
keep
all
people,
home for you.
Yes, yeah.
the people that are in Florida or have loved ones in Florida,
Herbal tea. Oh,
fingers
yes.
crossed that everybody comes out okay.
Yes. Man, if you don't believe in climate change, these hurricanes that have hit, what was it, North Carolina? And was it North Carolina or South Carolina?
No, it went from Florida to
Uh-huh.
Georgia
To
to North
Georgia.
Carolina and
North Carolina.
Tennessee.
So these
It went up and went left.
and that's never happened before.
That's
and
not
all,
normal. No.
and just really quickly, because I want you guys to understand, we're going to talk about our topics, but this is worth mentioning that some of these regions aren't necessarily near major bodies of water, maybe a river or two, and these people are stuck. Okay, so like I wish I could draw a line, you could see it, but like picture an S, and the beginning and ending of the S is where the roads are collapsed, and these people are in between, and some of them have to trek terrain, not like roads, terrain, like high hills, arguably mountains, to even try and get a signal because there's no signal, there's no electricity, right? And there's a river just washing through to try to get to civilization to get help. There are people who are injured, there are people who've passed away, there are people who are sick, there are people who are starved. There's so many different things. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, probably by the end of this week, probably by the end of next week, the tolls of people that are no longer with us are going to amass and keep growing and growing. Hopefully Florida is hit, but not as hard, if hard at all, because this is some seriousness, and we got to do better. The thing about FEMA had to release a whole page letting them know that's not true. They have the money. So if you can help and reach out to anybody and reach out to FEMA to give to anybody to help out, please, by all means. This is serious. Reach out to those that you love, even people you may not necessarily mess with, but just care enough. Just pray for them, because it's crazy. I live in New York. I could be next. We had Sandy. We're by bodies of water. So
Yeah.
just
Well,
keep
when
that
we
in
were in Colorado for Colorado Springs, there
Mhm.
was where I live in Connecticut, there was a really bad rainstorm where it rained for a couple of days and entire roads washed away. We're not by an ocean. We're in the middle of the state. Like not
Right.
necessarily we have like lakes and rivers that come through, but there was such a surge from those that it ended up literally washing roads away.
Yes.
And people having to get rescued with like fire trucks to get them from stranded restaurants and things where water was up to their waist in the middle of Connecticut.
Yeah.
So whether you believe in climate change or anything, weather is changing. It's getting more extreme, however you think that's coming about. And
People need help.
we were lucky. We were very lucky.
Yes.
And other places just aren't as lucky and don't have the resources. So to Mayhem's point, if you can help, even if it's just sharing information, anything helps.
Most
Anything helps.
Anything.
We
Seriously.
can't save the world, but we can help a neighbor. And if everybody helps a neighbor, then maybe we can save the world.
Listen, whatever you believe in, whether you believe there's a machine that controls the weather, and arguably, I would think so. There's a lot of stuff that we've advanced in technology, and hopefully to help rather than to harm. Just pray for these people. And honestly, if you could find a non-backed billionaire association to give to kind of help these people in their time of need, please do. Please do, because helicopter rescues and gas isn't cheap. Food isn't cheap. We all live it. But hoping everyone deserves lots of videos. Like, yes, 100%. I'm in Brooklyn, man. I'm in Brooklyn, and where I'm at, I'm actually next to the Verrazano Bridge. So if there's a hurricane, I need to go more inward or cross that bridge very fast. But pray to everybody. Give your support. Let us know if you know of any good links. We'll post them on our website for support, and we'll try to do our part as much as we can. Just keep that in mind, and once again, pray for the people. Yeah. And with that being said, did anybody want to add on to anything before we move on?
No, sir.
All right. So it's been a while. There's been a lot of different things that have been happening. There's a lot of different series that have been going on, some movie news we want to talk about. But first of all, I am super excited to talk about possibly the best Marvel series that we've had in a long time, if not at all, Agatha All Along. I'm sorry. I can't like. What other series right now is killing it? First of all, we have diversity. We have a female strong lead. And honestly, I said in the group chat, I didn't put it as a post yet, but I think Agatha reminds me of a female version, Marvel female version of John Constantine, because she's witty. I think she's more funny, and she's just as resourceful in this in the current series right now, and I love it. Uh, we got a great story. And honestly, this is the one series I wish they had dropped all the episodes one time. I
But then the viewership would tank. They can't do that. No.
I know. But they were teasing it for a long time. I'm not mad at it, but I'm kind of mad. What is we up to 4 episodes right now? I believe 4.
Five. I think 5 came out tonight.
Well,
Tonight, right, yeah.
one came out
Yeah.
comes out tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 4 episodes that we have seen have been amazing. Right now we're focusing on the kid with the sigil right now to the right of Agatha. The teen. And there's a lot of theories about who he is and the way that this been layered, and there's so much mystery in this. Oh my God. If you're not watching it, please do. But I'm going to turn to my co-host. What did you guys think of the episodes that you have seen so far?
So I have seen the first 4, and
Boo,
it's wonderful. It's spectacular. And, I'm sad that one character did have to leave in the way that they left, and I'm upset about it still.
Okay,
So
but
they
that
didn't
one
deserve
character
that. Yes.
needs their flowers, because whatever role that character gets kills it. Arguably typecasted, arguably.
Yes.
But still kills it. Go ahead.
Yes, she does. So no spoilers for those that haven't seen it, but it's a Marvel show. Someone's gonna bite it. Sorry. But then the fact that they're using all these allegories for other things, like the Witch's Road, and the way they gotta follow it as though it were a road made of yellow bricks. And they're all about shoes not being there. I'm just saying. How
they even talked about how witches are depicted and they hate that. Like, I what? Oh, come on. Go ahead, though. Go off, sir.
Yes, and it's just, I love the way that they are handling it. Granted, no, it's not the same Agatha from the comics. No.
Right.
We know this. This is Agatha from WandaVision, the MCU version. And I'm okay with that. And I always like to say that she is an antagonist playing a protagonist in her own show, because she's not good, she's not evil, she's just about self.
Fair enough. It's
like a great Jedi.
Oh, that's a good one. I think Agatha would more be Sith adjacent.
I don't know. Great Jedi really was. She's more anti-hero than I'd say more Catwoman or Black.
Okay. I think more Batwoman, because she's killing people. But all right, cool. Whatever. All right, whatever.
I think that this show really benefited from the fact that Agatha wasn't a fully fleshed character or well-known fully fleshed out character, and they could play around with that, giving flowers to Aubrey Plaza, who kills it in every effing role that she's in. I have to say, I have always enjoyed her work. Whatever she's in, she's always great in it, but I haven't enjoyed a character that she's played as much since she was in Legion, if anyone watched her in that.
I still need to watch Legion.
If you haven't seen Legion, I urge you. It's confusing as fuck, but it's so it really is so good, and she's amazing in it. I really enjoyed the 4 episodes. I was not as disappointed in this death that we were all talking about, because not complaining about the character, but we didn't need her. It was a nice callback, but we didn't need her.
True.
And I don't think that she did much to move the story forward, anyways. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm back to hyped the way that I was when I was watching WandaVision, and the fact that this is closely tied to WandaVision is telling. They get it. I love that it's period pieces again, like we had with WandaVision. I love that they're taking themselves seriously, but also realizing how unserious it is and playing into that as well. The casting is
Really,
really,
go
really
get your
well
water.
done. I am sincerely interested in everybody's backstory,
Right.
and um, I'm annoyed that I have to wait because I usually wait until everything drops and then I start watching it, but I'm watching with my kids, so that makes it
Yes.
nice that we do
Yes.
it together. But at the same time, being excited for a new episode to drop is a fun feeling and something that all of us who are used to everything being immediately available and binge watching immediately, it's nice to be like not be annoyed, but be excited that another episode is coming.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. I think this is one of those shows that can go either way. If all episodes dropped, I would not hate it at all.
Right.
And obviously, every episode has been amazing. You know, we had the first two, which was the build up, and then left us on a cliffhanger, and then another cliffhanger, and then another cliffhanger, and it's just like I want it so badly, but I'm willing to wait.
But the story also moves forward
Yes,
steadily enough that you're not like 40 minutes and we got nowhere kind of a thing.
Right.
this is
There-
one of those. Yeah, just to add on. Go ahead.
Yeah, there have been shows where I felt like that's happened. I watch an episode and I'm like, what was the point of this episode? Look at all that.
I was gonna say, I think the episodes are what 45 minutes,
Something
And-
like that, yeah.
something like that, and it passes really quickly.
It does.
And I'm mad because I'll be like, oh my God, it feels like it's gonna end, and I'll check and it'll be like 38 minutes. I'm like, no, I wanted so much more. I wanted so much more.
That was me last week. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
actually, the third episode and the fourth episode, it was reversed. One, I'm like, oh my God, this is just going on forever. This is great. And then the next episode, I'm like, why is it going so fast? Slow down, give me more.
Big shout out to the cast. The cast have been amazing. I forget their name. So the senior witch, if you will, the one who seems to be able to talk
the
to
future?
the future and
Patty
also
Lupone.
okay. I
Ooh, she took
apologize.
offense to that.
Hey, when it comes to actors and actresses, famous people, I don't know names. I've always said that. Don't come for me. So I love how I apologize. I love how she goes in and out and how she's like sometimes she's not necessarily her talking. It seems like it's somebody else talking.
It's her talking. It's just her talking to someone else in the future.
It seems to be a conduit. I was okay, fair enough. I love the first Green Witch, if you will.
Right.
I love how when the water came in, she was like, "Nope," and went straight in that oven. And if you see, you know exactly what I'm talking about because that's exactly what I would have. I seen all this water. Nope, I can swim. Nope, you know what I'm saying? So it's like all these witches have their own personalities. It's believable. It makes sense. It was just chef's kiss. Definitely check it out. I think honestly, this is the best series that we've gotten so far. We got some good contenders. We got WandaVision, which I think was pretty dope. Am I drawing a blank here? What's a good series that you would think that's worth being mentioned?
I mean, I want to say Falcon and the Winter
MCU-wise.
Soldier.
I was going to say that too. I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
I did enjoy it because it made me sad that they had to redo what the series was entirely about because of what happened.
Yeah.
But what they came back with was still okay-ish.
I was going to say, I think that they surmounted something that was pretty insurmountable and put out a good show. Like, yes, the villain was a little bit disappointing, but sometimes it's not about the villain. It's about the progression of the hero.
Mhm.
And we got that. And there are a lot of like disappointing in my mind heroes where it's just super anticlimactic. But in this case, it also was like, yes, this is the villain, but are they really a villain? It's a kid.
Right.
And I didn't mind any of that. But I really liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier, not to mention it's one of the more quotable shows. Like we still to this day is like, he's out of line, but he's not wrong.
Right.
I don't think an episode has gone by that we don't say that.
Megan gets that gift every other week, every 2 weeks.
Whatever.
I agree with him, but he could have said it better. But damn.
All right.
There was also that scene. Anything that has the Dora Milaje in it is definitely an A+ for me because they're amazing. But that scene when they
the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever they find themselves.
Exactly. But then when they were fighting and she just went boom, 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 and the arm just fell off.
I think that popped up recently. Yeah.
Everybody was just, ooh.
Like,
Nobody saw that
Ooh.
coming.
yes.
Ooh.
Nobody saw that coming. And that is what makes a great show, that you have these moments where you're like, oh shit. Like I never would have thought that would be something that happened. So
Well, we may have to update our list as far as like MCU TV series as to, as to rate them so far. Maybe that could be an end of the year thing,
yeah.
depending. But so far, I think this is one of the better ones. It started off strong. Hopefully, it doesn't pull a She-Hulk, which also started off strong and then kind of deflates. Also went Falcon and Winter Soldier, which actually ended pretty good. It didn't end pretty strong for me, but it ended pretty good. So I'm very happy to have that. I'm gonna move us along and talk about the Penguin, unless you guys have something you want to add.
Mm-mm.
Penguin. Ooh, he's gonna talk about the Penguin. Still
And
haven't
I have
watched that
nothing
yet.
to add about the Penguin either.
All right, well, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I enjoy what they're doing with reworking the Penguin as far as origin story goes. Okay. Currently, right now, the Penguin, I have not caught, I think there's a third episode. Currently, it's all about how he rose to power, not how he is in power. So, who he was before. And let me tell you, they struck gold. The acting, the story, everything is just believable. And what I enjoy about this is that Oswald Cobblepot's character is not as smart as he would normally be. So like so far he's surviving out the skin of his teeth. It's like he's getting to understand things completely.
Oh, so he's like learning the way the underworld works.
Yes and no. Because he knows how it works, but from a certain position, like a grunt position, if you will,
Gotcha.
versus a boss's position. So they've been striking gold with this one. It's really dope. So far, there's no Batman as far as I know. It could be in this episode that I missed. But the families and they're kind of like chokehold on Gotham. Mwah, it's just amazing so far. You can kind of tell. And then Arkham, and then who gets released. It's dope. It's definitely something you guys should look into. I don't know how many episodes we're gonna get, but I look forward to the possible second season. I think they can make a second season when he finally arrives as a kingpin, if you will, of Gotham, and then how he kind of handles other criminal masterminds. So far, the writing has been amazing, and the acting as well. Chef's kiss. Definitely check it out.
It's definitely on the list. I just got to get there.
Okay.
So as you know, I haven't seen the show, but
Yeah.
I did see his portrayal of the Penguin in the Batman film with Robert Pattinson. And even though I knew going in that was the role that he was going to be playing, I still forgot that it was him, which
Yes.
was a testament to not only the practical makeup that was used on him, but just also how he became that character, just in how he changed the way he walked and talked and his inflections and the way he's in his dictation and all that, like his diction, excuse me, was really really amazing. I do have to say though, as someone, and this is not a slam against, because again I have not seen the show, we did kind of get this story in Gotham with another actor who did a really good job of portraying Oswald Cobblepot before he became the Penguin and his becoming of the Penguin. And I am interested in, I don't have HBO Max, and that's what it's on, right? It's on
Yes.
HBO Max.
I mean, I got hood release.
Like, you know, I don't mess with that.
I'll give you the password.
I would like at some point to kind of watch it just to see if it kind of follows along the path, because I know that these are different Batmans, right? Different universes, as far as I understand.
So far.
But I am interested to see how those two kind of measure each other as far as the storytelling of his backstory. Because in that one, Oswald Cobblepot thought he was the smartest man in the room, but he wasn't. And even when you look at the 60s classic Batman, he was bumbling and mostly relying on the Riddler, who was just slightly less bumbling at that time too. So I've never thought of him as like a genius, just as somebody that was rich and powerful, which sounds like a lot of people that we know right now, that they have money that they've inherited from rich people and have enough money to buy things, but aren't necessarily
the smartest in the room.
right.
Cat, you need to be our
even if they're
spokesperson.
in that room by themselves.
Cat needs to be our spokesperson. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Maybe our
technically
angry
he is.
translator. No, I agree with you. Colin Farrell has been killing this role.
He really has.
Would you say based on the movie, since you've seen Danny DeVito, right? You've seen the one who played in Gotham, and you've seen Colin Farrell. Would you say Colin Farrell's a close second, or with the gentleman who played in Gotham, was he a close second? I understand it's a movie versus series.
Well, and to add to that too, in the film we got maybe, and again I'm guessing because I don't remember exactly, but maybe like 17 minutes of
Oh,
time on his character. Do you know what I mean? Like in the
yeah.
grand scope of the film, we really just got. Whereas in the show Gotham, we had, I think it was 4 seasons
Mm-hmm.
of him being a pretty steady character throughout. Like not a main character, but certainly a revolving, recurring character that you see. So in over 4 seasons, I got to see like 4 years worth of his backstory, his growth, why he makes the decisions, his path to where he is, his
Mm-hmm.
friendship with Edward Nigma and all of that. So it would kind of be like apples to oranges, but I do have to say that I think that just based on what we've seen, Colin Farrell has done more of a transformation to
Mm.
become the Penguin than the actor. And I am so sorry that I don't know his name off the top of my head because he was really brilliant in that role.
Oh, yeah.
Since he's not the actor wasn't already a known actor and just as hired as he's one of those people that every time I see him, I'm like, oh, that's Oswald Cobblepot from Gotham. And not like, oh, that's Colin Farrell playing Oswald Cobblepot. You know what I mean? But
Robin
because I know
Lord
Colin Farrell,
Taylor.
What's his
thank
name?
you.
Robin Lord Taylor.
I knew it was 3 names. I just couldn't.
Fair enough.
But like Colin Farrell is so known as an actor already and has been in so many blockbusters, especially like what was it, SWAT? That it was like he was like a big action star for a while
Yeah.
there. To have him so completely become a character that you forget that it's him playing it. And I know the practical effects, the makeup and everything plays a big part in that. But there are other actors that do that full makeup thing and you still know exactly who is playing that part. I'm looking at you, Jim Carrey. But like he so became the character that I forgot that it was Colin Farrell playing it, even though again I knew that it was going to be him playing it. So I do think that he has done
Thank you, Gary.
a bigger transformation to become that character, and therefore that's why, to me, is a big part of why he's so successful at it, because you forget it's him.
So I just want to add on the transformation made in this series is definitely dedicated at the very least. So like he limps and there's a reason why he limps. Now I'm used to Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito's character was kind of abnormal in a sense. Yeah. And he was kind of born with the mutations, if you will. And I still think Danny DeVito's portrayal of the Penguin is such a high bar for me. You know what I'm saying? I know it was a movie, but just the iconic character that he portrayed. I think Colin, so far, I got to watch Gotham. I definitely have to watch Gotham and fully see what Robin Lord Taylor did. Colin is, I think he's killing it. And
also he's playing a more realistic version where Danny DeVito was absolutely playing a Tim Burton over the top character. So it was very much a caricature of the character, intentionally so.
Fair enough.
This is true.
All right, so guys, definitely check out Agatha All Along, which is on Disney Plus. The Penguin, which is on Max, because they went through the whole thing. It was HBO, then it was Max and Cinemax, and now it's Max. Whatever. If your cat, hit me up. I got it on Hood Release. You know what I'm saying? Or we can share passwords. Allegedly, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else, hit me up for Hood Release. And another thing that's come out is Rings of Power. Now, I'm going to let Kat speak on this because everybody and their mama has been going, oh, this is a really good. Robin Lord is also playing a much younger version of Penguin. So here's the, okay. So then but was in Gotham, was the Penguin in power by any chance? Because no? Was
No.
he a grunt? Was he like somebody working?
He was basically like the assistant,
Okay. So then
like
Colin
the
kind of
assistant to the assistant to the assistant, and his kind of the way that
okay.
he's kind of, I don't want to use the word weaseling because I don't think that that's an accurate portrayal of he's definitely somebody that has high aspirations,
Hmm.
but he also is very aware that he's not a muscle man.
Okay.
So
Incredible.
he that's
Okay.
that's
So
like a glow up but with explosives.
right.
Um
So then Colin's kind of like the transition from high henchman to possibly
I would
boss.
right. So I would say that
Okay.
the Gotham, because you do see him get to a certain degree of power and then kind of get knocked down, and then him kind of like trying to like cycle through like to
Hmm.
try to get back up, like the ever changing flow of power there. But it very much starts as him being like basically a peon,
Okay.
like the lowest level, but trying to be the assistant. I kind of like the umbrella holder for P. Diddy,
Okay. Fair enough.
that kind of thing, and then how he uses his proximity to stronger and smarter people to kind of
So that makes
work
sense.
his way through. And his meeting of Edward Nygma and that relationship and all that. I do know that there are a lot of people that don't like Gotham, but there is a very strong amount of people that do. And I did that. Yes, it had its imperfections, but so do a lot of things. I still really enjoyed it, and it was, how I feel about Batman and the oversaturation of Batman as a character in all sorts of media. But I watched every season of Gotham, and Rise of the Villains, I have to say, which I think was like the second or third season, was probably some of the best.
We're not.
Some of
We're
the
not. Mhm.
best that I've seen.
No problem. We're not gonna talk about the diddler in this one. Um,
So
but we're gonna
Riddler.
yeah. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna move forward. And we're gonna talk about Rings of Power. I'm gonna pass it over to Kat because everybody's been talking about Rings of Power. I have not watched any Rings of Power. I've been begrudgingly trenching through the Umbrella Academy because their dysfunctionalism grinds my gears. Okay. like I pause and I'm like, they could have done this, they could have done that, they could have done this, and then I have to like take a break. Kat, tell us what we've been missing with the Rings of Power.
So this is very much something for people who are Tolkien heads, because one of the things with the Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, is people's least favorite, I'm going to say, is probably the Fellowship of the Ring, because there's like a lot of exposition.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a fan of Fellowship of the Ring, or even the amount of cutscenes in Return of the King where you have a lot of walking, you're probably not going to like Rings of Power. Now, Rings of Power takes the Cimmerillion, and which is like the history of the elves and the history of Sauron and the wizards and all of that, and also some of the poems and things from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and condense the timeline. So it's, instead of things happening over thousands of years, they're condensing it to about 150 years and telling a lot of stories concurrently. So the pace of the stories move at a much faster pace because they're trying to get somewhere. And it's basically about um, the creation of the Rings of Power and the One Ring. It is a visually stunning series. So if you really like the visuals of Lord of the Rings, you're going to enjoy this as well. I'm heavily invested in the story because I am getting to see characters that I've only read about. And one of the biggest things that I was so sad that didn't make it into the Lord of the Rings was Tom Bombadil, who is a character that helps Frodo and the hobbits when they get kind of in a pinch, and that's Bilbo and the dwarves too. Like, he helps them, and this is how we kind of
Mm-hmm.
we find out about the certain things about the rings. We find about how he's affected or not affected by the rings. He also tells some stories that kind of help move the story forward. And it's also where you get the introduction to the blade that glows whenever orcs are around. Like, that happens right before Tom Bombadil comes onto the scene.
Okay.
And they even try to give Tom the ring at one point, and he picks it up, he twirls it around his hands, and then he just kind of drops it on the table. And he was like, eh. Like, it has no effect on him at all. And he's supposed to be like the oldest being, but older than the elves, older than the trees,
Mm.
almost like what did they say, like the ancient ones or the eternals or the celestials or whatever. Like it's just something that was like before everything else. And he was completely omitted from Lord of the Rings, which I understand the movies are like 5 hours each on their own already. But
It
I
would have been
was so like it was I was so disappointed that he didn't get in there. Just so to see Tom Bombadil in Rings of Power in that second season, I could not stop smiling. It didn't even matter what he was saying. Like I was so happy. And to see the Dunedain, to see Durin and the line of Durin and the backstory of the Balrog and all of these things that you do experience in Lord of the Rings and stuff, but unless you've read the books and really get into the lore, you would never fully appreciate. This show is for you. I would not say that it's for the casual Lord of the Rings fan because there
Okay.
is quite a bit of exposition and characters that are brought in, like Celebrimbor and you see a very young Galadriel who's still over 1,000 years old, and Elrond and here are the elves rings, and you get to see the dwarves rings and the rings that they make for the men, like things that they talk about that you don't get to see.
Hmm.
It has been, you get to meet Adar, who was like the original elf that kind of went dark with the Uruks, and that's where you get the Uruks that later become the Urukai, and just I, I
I got you.
since nobody knows what I'm talking about, I'm gonna shut up.
we.
No, I think no,
I
no, no.
do. I read the
I
books.
somewhat know, and by all means, this isn't necessarily for someone like me. This is
Look
for
at
somebody like you said, who are token heads or somebody who are is a little bit more invested than casual. This is their time.
that's
Speak,
Elrond
sister.
and Prince
Speak.
Durin. I'm so excited. So excited to say, look at how beautiful. Look at how beautiful that looks.
It does look amazing. Looks like they spent the bag on production. They did
And you
not
get
care.
to see like some of the like you get to see how before the rings really started affecting everyone and kind of fucking things up. How
Hmm.
the dwarves used to mine before, how they used to use their voices to find the channels of rock to know where to dig. And it like builds this beautiful lore about all these characters that were just kind of these little extreme versions of themselves in Lord of the Rings and then a little bit more fleshed out in The Hobbit.
Yes.
And it to me it's just like this is a world that I love so much that I'm always happy to get more of. So I urge you, even if you're not into it, can you just play it in the background so that they get the viewership up and they make more seasons?
I mean, sure, why not?
Keep it muted, like it's fine. but
Also,
just
token.
but
Just
just
get that view count up.
Yeah,
yeah.
token. If you want to sponsor the show, let us know. You know, we got you, baby. We'll buy all the books. Mayhem will know tomorrow who's who. Trust me.
You will not know who's who by buying the books. It'll take you 2.5 years
Yes,
to read about half
allegedly.
that catalog and then another 6 years to dissect everything in it. And you'll probably need one of those, like I have one, guide to Middle
Mhm.
Earth, that has an explanation of who and what everything is. You
All
can
right.
borrow it if you like.
All right. 8-year journey. Why not?
That's about
um,
how long it took them to get to Mordor, so it's fine.
so real quick, because I was thinking about this while you were saying this. So, like, let's just say Tolkien actually made the full version of the books into movies, right? And let's just say that was a 5-hour movie. Let's just I don't even know if that's true, but let's just say that, right? Do you think he would meet and him and the movie company would meet success with that if they released that in a straight to straight to streaming, if you will, straight to DVD release? Because nobody in their right mind, I mean, with Titanic, it's different, and certain movies like that, nobody's gonna sit down in a movie theater for 5 hours.
No, no, not unless they know what they're getting into, because they did do that for the extended editions,
Mhm.
and we gladly sat there. I sat there for one extended edition, but they gave
Now,
us
as
back the book.
somebody that used to host a Hobbit Day party every year, and we would watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings. So we'd be watching all three,
Right.
and we'd be starting at like 10 in the morning, and then we wouldn't end until like 11:30 at night. Like it
Jeez.
would be playing all day, and then we
Right.
would have food, and then of course we'd take little breaks,
Yeah.
and you know, and you weren't fully paying attention all the time because this is obviously a movie that we've seen like already many times over. Yes, absolutely, there's an audience for this, 100%. Especially since so much of these stories are just like small poems. You really have free reign to kind of fill in whatever you want in the middle. And that's kind of what's happening here.
Hmm.
Like, for example, Arwen is mentioned in a poem, and that's it. Like, she is not at all in the Lord of the Rings. She's mentioned in a poem as who Aragon ends up marrying, like afterwards, and then living a very long life with. They took the husband of Galadriel,
Hmm.
Celeborn, like the parts that Arwen played in the movies were parts that were played by him in the books, and they changed that around to, I think, add a love story in, and also just to make the cast slightly more diverse, because they definitely could have gone much further with that. But there's so much that's just mentioned in like little poems and little sides, and in the Silmarillion, which is almost like an encyclopedia,
Hmm.
in a collection of short stories, that they could make content forever based on this, because there's so much to fill in between these like little chops of time that they tell us about.
Okay. All right. So I think one of the best things, I think they would be able to do it. I think instead of trying to charge people $20, they should charge them like 10, maybe 15, to stream it, to own maybe 20, 25, because that's how much a DVD is,
It's like
right?
$2.99 an hour. They'd still
You
make
know,
it.
fair enough. But I think I was just thinking about that because I'm just like, there's so much him, Tolkien, Martin, these guys write expansive universes and stories. And, they're generally, when they're doing a series is down to a hour. If it's to a movie, it's 2 hours, maybe three. Because 3 hours in a movie theater is kind of ridiculous. Like you come outside and it's like, oh my god, it's night. you know. Um, but I think that would be a thing, and I think if he ever does that, he should definitely cut a check to the Four Letter Nerd for helping him reach that point. You know what I'm saying? Especially to Kat. Give her merch, give me the money. I'm always down for that.
The thing is, though, like,
Mhm.
if they charge what we think they would charge to watch it, that would probably be what they would be cutting me the check for anyway.
Listen, I don't think enough movie theaters would care to have a 5-hour movie. I don't
They
think
probably wouldn't.
they wouldn't care. So they'd let it go until the money comes through, and they're like, "What? We missed out? What? That's crazy." At that point, I'm just
I
twiddling my
think the
thumbs.
theaters are kind of
Mhm.
dying.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I don't know that they would be opposed to that, because that's a guaranteed crowd. You're guaranteed to get people to come in to watch that.
I want to disagree only because they have been adamantly stubborn about keeping the same formula. It took them so long to maybe even think, and I think they did 1 or 2 times. They hosted parties for gaming, and I'll check now and see if Regal and all them other people are doing it, and maybe I'm wrong. But like, it took them so long to adopt a new way of just enhancing the movie experience that as soon as outside open, they were like, "All right, business as usual again." I would be surprised. I would be surprised if they did it. And I would come back and I'd reference this episode and be like, Kat, I eat my words. You were right. But
Well,
I
I
don't think
think
it's happening.
about when they have those, I forgot what they're called, feature presentations, or not feature. Oh, it's when they have those special events where they
Hmm.
re-release, like say Labyrinth, or you can go in to see the first two Ghostbusters in the theater, or hell, when they did the Taylor Swift Eras tour in the theater, or when they did the Studio Ghibli films,
Hmm.
when they
I think it's
released them
just
back out into
special
theater,
release.
special release, those things, those always do really well.
Yeah.
I
But
think that if they were
mhm.
to do that with this, that it also would do really well. But that's just because, again, like, there is such a core fan base for this. I mean, Ren fairs are built on this. They
So
created,
mhm.
like, he created orcs in the Uruk and the Urukai, and goblins and hobbits. Like, none of that existed before Tolkien put that to paper. So that everything that's come out of that, LARPing and Renaissance fairs, and thank you, Fathom Events. Thank you, Gary. Um, those things are all from not just him, but he did so much to move that forward and make it consumable to the masses, to the point where even the Winter Soldier is like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
quoting it in, what was it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Mhm.
He was
And
like,
he
I was
looked at me and
alive.
said, "You read Tolkien?" He's like, "Yeah, I was frozen. I'm not stupid."
Or he was like, I was alive when he wrote it, kind of thing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like it, and not to like press the point, but I really do think, I think that that is one of the few things that I could say, like, yeah, if you put that in the theater, you're going to get a full theater of people watching that. And you know, at least one seat is going to be bought by me. I might
So
buy like 4 just so I can sit by
fair enough.
myself.
So they have events and meetings. They have private theater rentals, right?
Mhm.
Private screenings, private watch parties. They have group sales. They even have theater church. You can do church in theater, educational field trips, birthday parties, film festivals. So I'm going to give them their props here that they've expanded their catalog, and I'm gonna give grace and be like, I'm gonna eat my words right here. I think Cat is right. I think Cat is right based on what they offer, but I kind of feel like if there was a 5-hour movie, they'd be like, nah. I still feel like nah. They'd be like, nah, we don't want it. That said, Cat, you're right. Love you to death. Let's move on, shall we? The next episode, because the next thing we're trying to talk about is Inside Out 2, and of course, Wolverine and Deadpool. Now, I saw Inside Out 2. Did anybody else see Inside Out 2?
I've not seen either Inside Out.
Those are really good
I
movies.
saw the first one and I thought it was mid, so I was not interested in watching it.
Really? I'm doing a 5-hour movie tomorrow. What 5-hour movie are you doing? Lord of the Rings? Is that what's
Don't
going
ask him. I'm scared.
on? Okay. So Inside Out was really dope. And then they came out with Inside Out 2. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is Pixar under Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because the other one is the one that makes Shrek. So these guys hit it out the park. They have a really good way of explaining how you change, how your body changes. What I enjoy about DreamWorks, what I enjoy about Pixar, and even Disney now to an extent, is now the happy ending isn't necessarily so happy. It doesn't necessarily, it's like you save the girl, if you will, the girl, you save the guy, but it doesn't go down how you think it is, and it's arguably traumatic, but it's also relatable to a lot of adults. Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3 back to back. Oh, I saw that out. Oh my god. Anyway, we're gonna talk about that just now. Hold up. So Inside Out 2, believe it or not, last I checked, made $1.5 billion. Right? And
Moment.
yeah, no problem.
I got you. I got your stuff. I didn't know where you're gonna go with it, so I
no
had
problem.
options.
No problem. Movie magic.
I wouldn't call this magic. But
yeah, so it made so much money, and I don't know if I can read that, but let me put my glasses on.
Get your glasses out, Grandpa.
Oh shoot, it made 1.6 now, and made 1.6 billion. I'm not even gonna try to read. It looked like 1.683, and the budget was 200 mil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool and Wolverine also had a budget of 200 million, and I think at the time they made 1.3. Whoa, there! Look at me, 1.3 billion. Big shout out to Ryan Reynolds. He's actually trying to do a Blade movie. Yes, please. Yes, thank you. And it's so funny because I think movie season kind of died down, but the fact that Inside Out and Wolverine and Deadpool literally made billions of dollars. Like, do you know how historical that is? Inside Out, which talks about anxiety, things that are going on with your body, emotional, and it's not really a happy movie. It's not happy, trust me. And then you have Deadpool and Wolverine, which
that is very happy.
It's fun. It's great fan service. But it just shows kind of like the shift, I think, that's always been coming toward average users, moviegoers like yourself and myself, that we want to see these things. Yes, we want to be nerded out. We want you to pay homage to some of the things we have. We want to see Hugh Jackman in those tights. Do it, Hugh. You know what I'm saying? We want to have all those great moments. But at the same time, we also want to have animated shows and movies that like are relatable. Not necessarily Toy Story, but like Inside Out. So I just wanted to bring that up because I think this is going to set the tone for next year. I think next year we're going to get blasted with movies, and hopefully, I'm looking forward to Wicked. Hopefully, they're all like hitting us and they're all classics because I think I need to buy Inside Out and Inside Out 2. They're even coming out with Incredibles 3. I don't know how to feel about that.
It's
I don't know
okay
how
to
to.
feel okay about Incredibles 3 because, as you can see, they need to wait a while between Incredible movies to make sure they're good movies. Because if you rush it, you
Yes.
get Cars 2, Cars
Yes.
3, and Cars Tomater.
Okay, so
Planes.
So
Oh God, planes. I had happily forgotten about that. Thank
I'm
you.
so sorry for that trauma.
my daughter is now, well, she's always been into cars, and she actually got Lightning McQueen and Thunderstorm. She saw it at Target. She wanted that. She also got a yellow Corvette. So now she has a 4-car garage in my house. She has a pink and white black Lamborghini, a yellow Corvette, Lightning McQueen, and Thunderstorm. And I'm just like, did you get this from Dad? Because I'm confusion.
Maybe she did.
Cars 3, as I've been watching it with the little one, is more of a send-off, and I'm okay with that. So let's not talk about that ever again. But Incredibles 3, Incredibles is my favorite movie. Like, legit is my favorite movie. And the only thing that tops that is The Lion King. And I've had that on VHS back when we had VHS. Okay. So Incredibles 2 was pretty dope. And it got a little surreal, a little realistic. And I was just like, oh,
Whoa.
so I hope Incredibles 3 wraps everything together. And I hope that's it, because we don't want any more. They did a special. It wasn't a Christmas special, but they did a special where everybody was fighting over the last cookie. That was amazing. I love when they put time and effort into great franchises and don't sell out. Just take the time. We'll wait for it. If R.R. Martin and HBO waited, we would have waited for the last season of Game of Thrones. I stand by that. Okay? I stand by that.
Aren't you happy with what you got?
Hell no. Hell no.
Oh.
You could have been like, he hasn't finished. We're waiting for him. And we'd have been like,
well, to be fair,
mm-hmm.
they could have spent more time telling the story, because they not only did they leave out a lot, they changed a lot. And you know this because I know you read the books. That show could have run for much longer and gave him time to actually finish if the writers weren't in a rush to move on to Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's their fault. And then they fumbled that bag so hard that Disney was like, maybe not.
They're like, oh, you're gonna do that no. But then they gave it to
whole like origin, like how they're doing right now with the House of Dragons. They could have done a whole origin thing with what happens with Ned Stark and Lyanna and all that before the war started, to get like once they established, or once they started to hint at establishing who Jon Snow is, they could have dedicated an entire season to that and then extended it out to give them the time to get to where they needed to. But even if they hadn't, they knew where the story was going to go. But because they no longer had written material to like copy paste from or like copy modify, it's just kind of like when you have to turn in a report and you're getting everything from the encyclopedia, but you have to make it look like you wrote it. So you're just rewording some shit and changing things around. That's basically what they did. And once they ran out of that material, and then they were like, oh, we're already like checked out of this. We're going to go here. That's when they fucked everything up. And I'm so glad that, one, I had already read the books before the show came out, and two, that I ended up not watching the show until after all the seasons were out, so that I could ignore. Like, I wasn't as mad as everyone else because I already knew it was trash going in. Like, it was not, I didn't have that level of disappointment. My expectations had already been lowered considerably by that point.
No, fair. That's fair. As we wait for Reggie to come back, I just want to say, like, when it comes to franchises like Game of Thrones, what they could have done was taking their time. See, what they don't realize is arguably, yes, the casual moviegoer and series watcher is tired of the same shtick in the same category. But if we find a good series, we will hold on to that forever. Okay, like for instance, you guys remember this thing called The Sopranos. Sopranos was a big hit, and what was that, like 8, 9, 12 different seasons, whatever. And then although nobody liked the ending, then it was highly debated, blah blah blah, people made sure every Sunday they were watching it. That's just The Sopranos. One Piece, that's an anime, but yes, 100%. Dexter, there's so many different, The Wire, and that's all HBO. But like, there's so many series that people like that if you take your time with, like, I still, if J.K. Rowling had even I know we're not really supporting her because of her bad comments, right? I understand. But if she had any idea of the power she had, she would have released that game and she would have talked about all the other characters. Now, granted, to write it's easy for me to say than it is to write, right? But if you had given us a book about Professor Albus Dumbledore's like adventures and him kind of like imagine he's dying but also reflecting about what happened, talk about how Voldemort became Voldemort, how the Marauders came to be.
And these were
Snape.
all things that we got pocket information from within the book. So you already have a lot of that material there. Something that fans have been asking for a long time is something called The Marauders, which is a
Yes.
show about Padfoot, Prongs, Wormtail, and
Yes.
Mooney. And also, like, we do get a background of Snape, more background on him than we do on either James or Lily Potter,
Mhm.
honestly, about his upbringing. And even the Voldemort, we learn about Tom Riddle's upbringing and um, how he ended up being born with his lineage and all that other stuff. There is so much source material, which is why I said even back then they should have done a series where they do a season per book, because Goblet of Fire is the one that I usually talk about. So much was removed
Oh my
and
god.
changed in there, like entire storylines that
Mhm.
affected things that they then had to like make up dumb reasons for later down the line that they wouldn't have had to if they just kind of stuck closer to the source material. But I understand for a film, you can't.
Yeah.
But in a series, 8 to 10 episodes a season, or even like take chapter by chapter and put it into, even if it's a shorter episode,
Yep.
that you get to tell the full story and that fleshes things out and invests you more. I 100% agree with you. But then you have stories like Grey's Anatomy,
Mhm.
Law and Order SVU, NCIS,
The Simpsons.
all of those shows. Like they've been going
Family
on
Guy.
for 20 years and nobody is tired of them yet.
Yes.
They're still very successful for what they are.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. After a while, the humor for those shows, for the like Family Guy and Simpsons, kind of dies out. The practical ideas, South
Yeah,
Park too. Yeah, it kind of like dies down.
it
But
ebbs and it flows.
right, but if you give us a solid, let's just say 8 seasons or a solid couple of movies, like J.K. Rowling was a billionaire, and then now she's worth 60 million. Ma'am, you could have been one of the highest billionaires of all time as an author had you considered your writing and shut your mouth and maybe be a better person. Whatever, whatever.
You
None of my
could have been
business.
anything and you decided to be
You
it
could have
because
been a contender. Sorry, sorry.
really could have, really
Right.
could have.
So I say all that to say, I really hope for the movies that are continuing the franchises into the third movie, like you guys really take your time and give us what we want, a great story and homage to us, make us pay that money for any future series coming out. Like even if Agatha does 2 or 3 seasons, like give us great story, give us great action, develop the story out fully, and give us actors, give us great actors as well, because like that's what we want a story told right, and we want it still done well. When it's done that, we'll pay the money. We'll pay the money no matter how many series. Because arguably, what is it, Game of Thrones? Let's just say Game of Thrones 9 series, 9 seasons. I forget. I'd pay for the 1 to 8. Give me 1 to 8, and I'd be like, I'm legally blind for the ninth one. I don't, I don't know what happened after this. It stopped.
So how that's weird. This is what happened in the books. I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. He never finished.
The world will never know.
Find out next time on.
Are we wrapping up?
We are.
Or
I
are we
just
talking
wanted to
about
make a
other
quick
things?
mention of anime. All I know is Mrs. Incredible better be thicker than pancake butter in the winter.
Gary,
You know what's crazy? People have been fetishizing Mrs. Elastigirl or Mrs. Incredible
and it's a
from
little bit
day one.
gross.
Right, from day one.
It was that
Because
scene where she got stuck in the door, and all you
yes,
saw was the front half, and then the back half
yes.
wiggling, and all the guys were like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Bro, what are
No,
you doing?"
it's the one where she put on the I think the outfit for the first time and she looks in the mirror. I remember somebody was like, "Damn!" I'm like in a kids movie. I'm like, get out of here. Anyway, there's so many I can go from there. Uzumaki, the anime, just dropped. People have been talking about that. I saw it because Naruto Uzumaki or just Uzumaki altogether, and probably one of the trippiest things I've seen so far. I'm gonna stick to Hunter X Hunter, which is supposed to come out tomorrow. Solo leveling
Did you not know about Junji Ito before watching that?
did not. I was
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna
that was a great surprise for you then.
yes, it was. I think I'm gonna watch a guide. We ran over time, so I'm just gonna say this real quickly. The Star Wars open world game, what was it? Outlaws, I think. Hasn't been doing too well. I have yet to play it, but it's obviously the bugs and whatnot. Once again, I just want to say this is why I even brought it up. Game developers, please
Stop getting lazy.
stop shafting us. Seriously,
Fix your
you had
game before you sell it to me.
you had a great premise, the first of its kind, an open world Star Wars game.
That had
So much,
nothing to do with the Skywalkers.
right?
Ish.
So much of so much of incorporated, and all you had to do was deliver us a game that works and a great story. From what I understand, the story's pretty good. I'm gonna watch the review fully on tomorrow, but the game is trash. It's like Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, and I'm gonna take a wild guess: Black Ops 6. That's coming out. 10
They're up
days,
to 6 on that?
bro. Let me not lie to you. Let me not.
Where the hell did
It's at some point it's all a cash grab, and what's going to happen is the amount of production you put to put this game fastly into the works versus the amount of sales is not going to even out. But until then, they're going to ride it till the wheels fall off.
Yep.
And that's really Black Ops 6, Friday, October 25th. Hey, if you buy it on Steam, you can always get a refund within 24 hours or 2 hours.
It's 24.
It's 24. Okay.
It used to be 72, but because all these other games that came out that were trash,
yeah,
and people were like, "Yeah, no, I need my money back," and they're like, "That's too long. Let's shorten it." So yeah, you get a day.
Listen, I would tell everybody to buy it on Steam, and if it's trash, give it back. Because that's the only way corporations understand when we hit them where it hurts. We could cancel them and say whatever, but if we're still buying them, like, oh, we're sorry, but you're going to buy that new DLC, right?
And that's what they do. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're not going to do it," and then they spend money.
Anyway, let us wrap this up. This has been amazing. It's a pleasure to see you guys. It's a pleasure to be back. As always, what was your one beautiful, great thing that happened this week that you would like to tell us? We're going to start with I wish we had a wheel. Reginald.
Oh, well, I'm going first.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
For me, it is.
Yeah, that's my one great thing that happened.
Okay.
I live my life no regret at a time. Go ahead.
I see that. Anyway, Mayhem. My thing for me and the wife this week is the help that our friends have given us this last week or so with the wife having COVID. We've been given so much stuff and so much help with her. Like, we've been giving food, we've been given homemade meals, we've been given like stuff to help out, and it's just wonderful. So shout out to all of our friends that helped us out this past week with everything. And sorry to Taylor for maybe giving you COVID. Sorry.
Oh, tell her feel better. Kat.
In the last week, huh?
Ooh.
She's just on the spot. We know it's coming, but still on the
I
spot.
know, like when it gets them, because I had a bunch of things in my head that I wanted to say. But
Mhm.
first, I want to say
Mhm.
I am forever thankful for the people around me that are always supportive, that always are uplifting, the people that I get to spend time with, people that I work with, even though both of my jobs are extremely demanding and stressful. Um, and this is something that I could say every single week. I'm so proud of my kids. I'm so lucky to be their mom. Um, I am so blessed in so many ways that it's hard sometimes to pick one thing when it's easy to get overwhelmed with the things that are stressing you out and things that are worrying you. And having said all of that, I just want to say the best part of every week is the time that I get to spend with all of you. So
When they show up.
thank you. I know, right? You guys might as well end it now. Nothing you can say.
You know, there's nothing I can say now. All right, everybody, it's the show.
But like everybody that watches, everybody that comments, the people that I get to do this show with, and all the background stuff that happens in between shows where we sincerely check on each other, we spam each other with fucking TikToks and whatever.
The group chat goes
um,
crazy.
the shows that I'm looking forward to doing with you guys, I'm like, there's so much for me to be grateful for that it's hard to just say one thing, but just I'm grateful for you, all of you.
I'm grateful for Reggie not hitting that button on me just yet. I know he's planning.
Don't worry about it. We're good.
Real quick, ditto to what Kat says, and I'm grateful to be a dad. I'm a first-time dad, and I've had a lot of people who've definitely given me some great advice. One of the great things was being able to help my daughter. She was sick, and she had reached the point where she was breathing through her mouth only, and as a dad, I was panicking. Okay, I have no regret in telling you that. I was panicking to an extent, and we got it down. We got everything going. Shout out to her mom, really, really helpful as well. Also, I will say this: I realized how deep my emotional well is. Because I swear to you, there are certain movies that I watch, and all of a sudden I'm tearing up, and I'm like, "Who is this man crying in my eyes right now? Who's cutting onions?
These ninjas, they're everywhere."
It's because of her. So it's really, as always, I'm always grateful for you guys. Always grateful for my daughter. It's always a learning experience, and being able to take care of her and like have her bounce back. Any parent will tell you we hate when our kids get sick. We'd rather it go to us and stay with us. Stay tuned because I may have to fight the crossing guard. Anyway, this has been the 4-letter nerd Iowa Geeks Unlimited production. I'm your host, Mayhem Mike. Love, peace, and soul to everybody. Until next week. Bye-bye now. Hit the thing. It's not hitting the thing.
Wait, hold up. Maybe. All right, so hold on, ladies and
gentlemen.
We're trying new things. So if things go awry, it's Mayhem's fault.
I know, right?